everyone. My name is Emily Rivas, and today I'm here with Dr. Rodriguez. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about his background, giving you guys some tips, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit of a conversation. Dr. Rodriguez, if you want to briefly introduce yourself, please feel free to do so, and then we'll start with the questions.
Great. So my name is Jesus Rodriguez. I'm a family medicine doctor, originally from Guanajuato, Mexico. I moved to the United States when I was about 5 or 6 and grew up in this little town called Madera, just north of Fresno.
Mhm.
And from there, I was really interested. Actually, I wanted to be a teacher at first, but as luck would have it, I attended a summer program at Stanford that was geared towards medicine. And that's where my passion for medicine, and I figured what better way to serve my community as a doctor than to pursue that goal.
Right. That's actually a really good lead into our first question. So, did you always know you wanted to be a doctor, or did you, of course, you just said that you saw yourself being a teacher. Was there anything that kind of, other than the Stanford camp that you went to, was there something else that triggered inside you wanting to be in medicine? Can you give us a little bit of background on that? And also your experience in the collegiate side of pursuing a degree in medicine?
Yeah, so growing up, like I mentioned, I'm from Mexico, and we always used a lot of teas and herbs and the curanderos to really heal ourselves.
Mhm.
And so that sometimes meant that we would stay with an illness for much longer than we needed to
Mhm.
because we didn't go to see the doctor on a timely basis.
Mhm.
And so saw that there was a big disconnect with accessing healthcare and being Latino. And so I figured now with this newfound love of medicine that I could help bridge that
Mhm.
because medicine does provide us with a lot of benefits. But if you go into an office and you don't get the right reception, then you don't feel comfortable bringing up to the doctor that you've been using herbs, that you've been using these other ways to try to heal yourself.
Mhm.
And that is a very important part of our culture that we should continue to use, and because it has helped us for many years, but sometimes we need to combine Western medicine with the herbal medicines. And so that was a big motivating factor for me to try to bridge that. And going through medicine, it was difficult, but I felt I had the support of my parents, my community, my friends, family, and that kind of kept me going. And just having that goal of coming back to my community to really bridge this huge bridge, and thankfully it's a little smaller now, but it still exists.
Right.
And there's still a lot of disparities, a lot of care that our Latinos are not getting because of language issues, because of cultural issues. So I'm really trying to do my best to break down those barriers.
Right. And I think that's really nice that you share that, there's nothing wrong with like preserving our culture. And we can kind of tie those two things into one another of, like you said, that Western medicine, but also maintaining our culture and the way that we've always, and our ancestors have always kind of cared for themselves. So I think that's really amazing that you wanted to tie those two together. Um, my second question for you is at United We Lead Foundation, we really encourage students to be diverse, to be unique, and to kind of hold on to that uniqueness and embrace it. Do you feel like your diversity kind of helped you on your path to being a doctor? And if it did, how did that kind of help you, and how did you harness that uniqueness?
Yes, I think diversity is so good, especially in this field of medicine,
Mhm.
because being a doctor means that you're connecting with a patient, and by connecting with them, then you can really help them along their path. And so when you have this life experience that's similar to your patient, it really enables you to know where they're coming from, to
Mhm.
know their limitations, know what they can and cannot do, and so that your plan for them is going to be appropriate for them. And the more diverse doctors we have, the
Mhm.
better they'll be able to connect with a bigger population.
Mhm.
Um, if you're kind of just one type of doctor, you may connect with a certain number of people, but not everybody. So the more diversity there is, the better. And I think along my path, what really helped me is knowing Spanish,
Mhm.
being fluent in Spanish, being able to communicate with my patients in Spanish. And I think that even today, it brings me a big joy when I walk into the room and I say, Hola, buenas tardes. And then all of a sudden, their body relaxes, they smile. And I know we're going to have a good interaction because they haven't had that. They
Yeah.
haven't had a doctor that speaks their language.
Mhm. I also agree. I feel like, you know, having a doctor that kind of reflects who you are or can communicate with you in your native tongue is so essential to, like you said, making them feel comfortable and making them feel like they can trust you with the processes that they are going through or the healing that they need. And I think that's amazing that you really do share that language with them and you can communicate in a way where they feel, like you said, more comfortable. Um, my third question for you is if you could talk to the teen version of yourself, what kind of advice would you give to yourself? I know for me, for example, I would tell myself to just relax, take life as it is. But go ahead and give us some of your tips and how you kind of coped through your teen years.
Yeah, so being a teenager, there's a lot of pressure to be perfect, to look good, to do always the right thing. And if I could do it all over again, I would say take a little bit more risk, right? Good, healthy, calculated risk. And what that means for me is that if an opportunity came along, not to second guess myself and say, I can't do that. That's too hard for me. I
Mhm.
would tell myself, go for it. If you fail, if you don't do as well as you wanted to, that's okay. You'll learn from it still. And I think a lot of us have that pressure of just always trying to be perfect and having everything right. But in medicine and life, there's no such thing. And it
Mhm.
is okay to fail, uh, as long as you kind of get yourself up, you learn from that experience, and you move on to your next challenge.
Right. That's really well said. I agree. I think that failing is so essential. And as teenagers, we kind of fear that failure. But with failure is growth. And I can agree with you more. My last question for you is where do you see your career going in the next 5 years, the trajectory of medicine and how people of color can kind of introduce themselves to medicine or trust medicine a little bit more? Could you share some of that with us as well?
Absolutely. So we're living in a pandemic right now. And with this pandemic, obviously we would be face to face right now if it wasn't for the
Mm.
pandemic. But that also has made a lot of changes in medicine. So there's a lot of telemedicine going on, a lot of virtual care. And so I envision that in the next 5 years, there's going to be even more of that, just because it has allowed us to reach more people. It has allowed us to kind of live in the person's space. So now we can go into their workplace and see what their life is like through virtual care. We can go into their home life and see what their life is like much more easily. And so there's going to be a lot more growth in this area. Nonetheless, we still need people. We still need physical people to connect with one another.
Mhm.
Even though we're thinking that there's probably going to be some robot in the future that's going to be able to diagnose, it's not going to be the same. We're going to need people in healthcare to be able to connect with people. Um, and along those lines, diversity of people is going to be very important for the things that we've already mentioned, that we need different people to connect with different groups throughout the United States.
Right.
So no matter what your background is, you have something to offer in healthcare. So I definitely encourage everybody to consider a career in healthcare.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. We really appreciate you. We know you have a busy schedule, but we do want to thank you for taking your time out of your day to interview with United We Lead Foundation and to just give those encouraging words to our students. I know for me, I was never someone that considered healthcare as a career, but seeing someone that looks like me and can reflect kind of my similar experiences, it's really amazing to know that people can reach that goal. So thank you once again for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate you. And again, students, if you guys have any questions for Dr. Rodriguez, please let us know and we can kind of communicate those back to him.
Absolutely. Thank you. It's been a pleasure, and I really welcome any questions. And feel free to reach out to me in the future. I'm here at Kaiser Permanente in Fresno. I'd be happy to help in any way I can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.